taking receipts on all the people who continually mock and say that we ain't going to do anything. I'm taking receipts.
What's up, Jets fans? It's Christian from the Jets Report, and today I'm back with my co-host James for episode 8 of the Taking Receipts podcast. The Jets just came off a tough loss in Minnesota to the Vikings. Close game all the way through. I know we're a little bit later in the week than we normally do in terms of recording this, so we'll touch on it a little bit to start. James, what are your thoughts on that game? Brutal loss. I really felt like we had a good shot at winning it, but overall, I was just happy to see us compete in a tough game in December.
Yeah, it was a tough one, right? Extremely frustrating to watch, especially since it felt like we had so many opportunities to take it. It was almost like they were handing us the game. But overall, it was one of those games where we didn't get off to a great start. The vibes weren't good to start the game. Down 14 at halftime, but at the same time, it never felt like we were out of that game. And I think that's a testament to Saleh and his coaching staff, the way that he prepares his team, the way that this team is able to adjust at halftime and come out in the second half as a different team. I mean, down 20-6, the defense came out and absolutely balled out in the second half. And I think we saw Mike White in the offense, grow as a whole in that second half. And so, like I said, a lot of chances to punch it in the end zone all throughout the game. And that's the key, right? I think we were 1 for 3 or 1 for 6 in goal to go situations or something like that, and they were 3 for 3, and that's the difference. You're not going to win a football game with 5 field goals and 1 touchdown, but like you said, to see them compete on the road in a hostile environment against a 9-2 team, one of the best teams in the league, arguably the best team in the NFC. That was good to see, but at the same time, we're at the point in this rebuild, or it's not even the rebuild anymore. We're at the point where we're expecting wins. And so for that reason, it's certainly frustrating, and especially since it was right there for the taking, but got to move on. Got an even bigger game against Buffalo this week. Looking forward to that one. Big chance to rebound. But yeah, a lot of positives to take away and a lot of things to work on.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. I'm not one either to take the moral victories. I know I said I'm happy we played a close game and we're playing meaningful games in December, but it's not a rebuild anymore. Like you said, we want to win. We expect to win every week. We expect to make the playoffs this year. We expect to make a run. And, being a team like the Vikings is one step closer to that, to show that we're a legit team to the rest of the league. And obviously it was a tough loss. And I agree. We had no problem getting down to the red zone. I felt like we were moving the ball so well. In the second half, we came back from the 20-6 deficit, but every time we got in the red zone, I thought Michael Ford just got a little too cute. I think just the screen to Braxton Berrios, the jet sweeps, like being on the 1 yard line and not being able to score from at second and goal. It's just those frustrating things where I think Michael Ford just has to trust his players. He has to trust the quarterback. I get it with Zach. It's a little tougher to get the ball in that zone just because he's a younger quarterback decision making. But you got Mike White back there. He's seen a lot of football, whether it's at practice. He's got a couple starts under his belt now. I think you just trust him. You let him rip it. You even can QB sneaky with Mike White at 6'5", run the ball at Zonovan Knight. He's got good burst. I just feel like we have so many weapons, and Michael Ford kind of just didn't take advantage of them. So hopefully he's still a young coordinator. He's learning. He has his ups. He has his downs. But overall, my confidence is still high in Michael Ford. I don't know about you, but, I think that he's just going to learn from this. And going in the Bills week, we're going to see improvement. And he's going to get back to drawing up plays like he should. But overall, obviously, tough loss. But moving on to highlight a big positive in that loss, Garrett Wilson, man. I mean, coming onto the scene, he's been heating up, whether it's been with Zach and then into the transition to Mike White. He's been playing out of his mind right now. In my opinion, I know the consensus was Olave was playing like the top receiver from this draft class, but I think that's shifted to Garrett Wilson. And honestly, I think the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation has really been a focus for Garrett Wilson right now. So I'm so happy with what he's doing. I'm pretty sure his official stats were 7 receptions, 162. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I think it was 8 for 162, yeah.
8 for 162. I mean, awesome stuff. And he could have easily had another 85-yard touchdown if him and Mike White connected on that deep ball that Mike White just missed him. I mean, Garrett Wilson burned Patrick Peterson on a little double move. So it's just awesome to see that we finally have that wide receiver one, that guy that we hoped for in the offseason, whether it was talking about trading for Debo, talking about trading for Tyreek, talking about trading for DK Metcalf. We got that guy, homegrown talent in the draft with the 10th overall pick. And now we have him on a cheap contract. and he's on pace for the 1,000-yard mark. He's on pace for a good number of touchdowns. I think that touchdown number could definitely be more too, just a matter of circumstance. But I mean, he is. I personally see him as a legit number one with even top 5 receiver potential in the NFL once he enters his prime later in his career. But how are you feeling about Garrett Wilson right now, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think I'd be exaggerating if I said the kid's already a superstar. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Justin Jefferson, but seeing them go head to head this past week, there are so many parallels in their game. I mean, they're not the biggest receivers, and they're tall, but they're not very wide, right? Garrett's a skinny player, but his ability to create separation was something I was really impressed with early in the year. But I saw a stat where he wasn't even creating that much separation this past Sunday, which is even more impressive to how he played. But his body control is really it's crazy. I mean, the one catch that comes to mind is the one on the sideline to end the first half, where he almost like it looked like he almost touched his knees on the sideline before he got out of bounds. So and then the crossing route over the middle where he broke a tackle and took it for 65 yards. Like, the kid's unbelievable. And if I'm being honest with you, I didn't expect him to be this good this early on. I think Michael Flores done a great job getting him involved ever since, week one, quite frankly, was really only a game he didn't play that much. And speaking to Michael Flores, I think he's been doing a great job inside the 20s, but he's getting away from his game in the red zone, right? And I think that's something that's definitely fixable. We have such great weapons like Garrett, like Elijah Moore, like the 2 tight ends, Uzama and Conklin, Bam Knight, who has run the ball really well. And so I think once we start incorporating those guys in the red zone, we're going to start scoring a lot more touchdowns. And as much as I love Braxton Berrios, I think there are guys who we can give those design touches to instead. He's a great player. He's shifty. He's quick. He can make plays happen. But at the end of the day, 3-4 design touches to him in the red zone isn't going to get the job done. But I have faith in Michael Flores to fix that. All the resources are there. We have the guys, and I think once we start, like I said, once we start getting Garrett involved in the red zone and the 2 tight ends and Elijah, maybe start running the ball a little bit more, that won't be an issue. But overall, Garrett's a superstar, man, and if he keeps this up, over this next 5 weeks to end the season, I don't think it's a conversation of who the offensive rookie of the year is. I think it's him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Jets had this type of wide receiver one on their team as like a young player. Obviously, our last 1,000-yard guy was Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker on the same team back in 2015, but they were both guys on their second, third contracts, end of their career, not really sustainable. Obviously, going into 2016 and beyond, they just didn't put up those same numbers. But I mean, Garrett Wilson is a young, promising guy, and he's got that it factor about him. He's got that confidence. I mean, you mentioned week one where he didn't get many targets. He had the confidence to come out and say something. He talked to Michael Flores, and the next game he explodes versus the Browns. Like, he's got that type of swagger where he knows he's the number one guy, and that's honestly what you need in this league. As a receiver, you need confidence. You need to believe in your hands. You need to believe in your footwork. You need to believe in your route running, and he's got all of that. So I can't wait to see what he does in the future. He's going to be something special for whoever's playing quarterback, because he's going to be a quarterback's best friend. But I do love the chemistry he's been forming with Mike White as of recently. But
Yeah, well, one more thing too, just to add, sorry. I think, like I mentioned, he's not the biggest guy, but he's fearless, man. He'll go over the middle, he'll take those hits, and he won't just take them, he'll bounce off of them. I know they said on the broadcast and right before like that 60-yard catch, they're like, oh, he told us, he doesn't really like taking those hits, he'll go down, and then the next play he takes a hit, he bounces off of it and goes for 60 yards. So, that too, I think I've been really impressed with that, just to be fearless like that. It's one thing in college to do that and then move on to the NFL when the guys are much bigger than you. That's just special. I don't think a lot of guys have the courage to do that, honestly.
yeah, that's just straight up confidence right there. He trusts his ability no matter who he's going over the middle against, no matter who he's lining up with. It's just something you love to see because you need that. You need those traits in a wide receiver one. Absolutely. Today also, Max Mitchell was placed on the non-football injury list. Robert Saleh wouldn't say what's up with him. I hope everything's good with Max. I mean, I hope it's nothing serious with his family or injury or health concern. Whatever it is, I hope he's doing well. But on the football-related side of it, it's not good losing Max Mitchell for the season. Obviously, every Jet fan knows our offensive tackle depth is extremely thin. We've been decimated at the position, going all the way back to training camp. And the injuries just have not stopped. The misfortune just has not stopped. So right now on the roster, Our two starting tackles are Dwayne Brown at left tackle, George Fant, who just came back from injury this past weekend, looked good on Sunday versus the Vikings at right tackle. But after that, we're extremely thin. We lost Cedric O. We lose Max Mitchell. We're down to Mike Remmers and a guy recently added off the practice squad. I forget his name, but maybe he's gonna have to be elevated to the active roster, just get some bodies in that room. But what are your thoughts on this tackle position going forward? Obviously, we've been saying next man up this whole year, but do you think it's sustainable for the next 5 weeks? Do you think we could hold on? Well, where do you think we go from here?
Yeah, I'm not going to speculate. I hope Max is okay. I hope everything's well. But like you said, in terms of football, this one hurts a little bit. Tackle is one of the most valuable positions in football, and you need to be deep there. We've had so many injuries to that position; it's hard to even keep track at this point. But it's thank God for George Fant, right? Thank God he came back last week and looked back to his normal self, right? I think earlier in the year, I don't think he was healthy, and I think that was really affecting his play. But now that he took those 8 weeks off, he's refreshed, he's healthy, he's ready to go. I feel confident about him holding that right side down, and Dwayne Brown's really actually been doing a nice job these past few weeks, holding down the blind side. So, we can't control their health. I hope those two guys stay healthy because those are two good players. We're going to need them. But God forbid the situation comes, at least we have a guy like Mike Remmers who's an experienced veteran who can go in there, get the job done. But like you said, this certainly isn't good, especially at this point in the season where wins are going to be hard to come by. Wins are going to be pivotal in terms of making a playoff run. So, yeah, like I said, I hope Max is all right. I hope everything's good. But we've got to hope that Dwayne and George keep doing their thing and they stay healthy.
Yeah, relying on an old Dwayne Brown, no matter how he's been great all year, and I trust him at that left tackle position, but relying on that old aging Dwayne Brown on the most important position on the offensive line is probably not ideal. But hopefully he holds on for the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs. And like you said, George Fant played great on Sunday. He's back to his old self, and I hope he continues that because we really do need that, or else it's going to be a long 5 weeks. Because Mike White's not the most mobile guy in the world. He's not afraid to step up in the pocket and take hits, but you don't want to see him keep taking shots and having to roll out because that's when he doesn't start playing his game, and then the turnovers come and the inaccuracy comes. But hopefully we hold up at that position there. As of now, we really don't have an answer. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Douglas continues to make like depth practice squad moves, rotating guys in and out, evaluating talent, sees what he has, just because he's so big on the offensive line. He's an offensive line guy himself. So wouldn't be surprised about that. But moving forward, we have a massive divisional matchup at the Buffalo Bills this weekend. Big playoff implications. Obviously, the Bills are leading the division right now. We couldn't make up ground to end the division with a win. We also need to keep on winning for the wild card situation. We took a loss last week. We still remained in the 7th seed, but the race just keeps on getting tighter, and we could really use this Bills win for a multitude of different aspects in terms of making the playoffs. So, what are your keys going into that game? What do you think the outcome's going to be, and how are you feeling about it?
As I've said the past few weeks, we control our own destiny, and that continues to hold true. But our margin of error is significantly lower after last week. I think we mentioned that last week wasn't a must win, but it certainly would have helped us. And so that was what made it so frustrating, right? But going into Buffalo, this is going to be a tough game. I mean, we beat them already. We know we can compete with them, but going up to Buffalo, they're going to be hungry. They want that revenge, but our guys are going to be hungry too, right? They're ticked off coming off this Minnesota game, and I think they're going to come ready to play. But in terms of the game itself, this Buffalo team, you can't play them from behind. You have to get a fast start. And I know we didn't do that the first time we played them. But we didn't get lucky, but Sauce had that one pick that really changed the momentum of the game. And so if we want a shot, going into Buffalo in a hostile environment, with their guys ready to play, we're gonna have to get off to a fast start. And I know we didn't do that in Minnesota, and that kind of hurt us, right? So if we can get off to a fast start, I think we got a shot. Um, you know, but at the same time, like I mentioned before, this coaching staff, dating back to last year, has been so good with the second half adjustments. So I do trust if we keep the game at least close going into halftime, that we have a pretty good shot of coming out on top. But Yeah, I mean, we got to come out strong quickly. We're going to need Mike White to protect the football, which I think he's done a very good job with over these past 2 weeks. And I know he threw 2 picks last week, but one tip ball that should have been pass interference, and the last one was the last play of the game on 4th down. So it's about playing turnover-free football. It's about getting to Josh Allen, putting pressure on him. I don't care how good a quarterback is. If you put pressure on him, he's going to have a hard time, playing well. And I think we saw that the first time we played them. So I am interested to see how they play Diggs again, because I know the last time they doubled him with Reed and a safety for most of the game, and we did mostly the same thing against Jefferson this past Sunday. So that should be interesting to see. And they don't really pose a threat in the run game except for Josh. I know he kind of killed us on the ground in the first half of that first game we played them, but we shut him down in the second half. So if we can shut down his legs, put pressure on him, and if the offense can play turnover-free football, I feel pretty good about this one. If we can leave Buffalo at 8-5, um, I'd feel really good about the playoff chances. But this is a tough game, man. I'm not going to say it's a must win or a should win, but it would really help.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the Bills going into the season, Super Bowl favorites, viewed as this great team. I personally thought we were going to get swept by the Bills going into the year. But this team shows that it's not the unbeatable juggernaut that they were once perceived as. Just going through the year, every team goes through injuries. Obviously, when we played the Bills the first time, they were missing guys like Matt Milano and their safeties. Now a guy like Von Miller's out for the year. And their defense isn't anything too scary. They are a pretty solid defensive team, but it's not that top 5 unit that they were once viewed as maybe going into the year. And Josh Allen, personally, every time I watch him play, and they're on prime time a lot, I get to see him play a lot. He throws 2 to 3 like turnover worthy footballs every game, and I think the key to beating them is just taking advantage of those turnovers, whether it's fumbles, whether it's interceptions, bad throws, off bounds, because he's a mobile guy. He's always on the run. So, if the Jets did take advantage of those Josh Allen throws the first time we played them, and it was huge. They got the big, I know we didn't recover it, but Bryce Huff strip sack Josh Allen, Sauce Gardner pick, and then the Jordan Whitehead pick, right? So those are 3 turnover worthy plays that Josh Allen has. We took advantage of it and we win. Now, is Josh Allen going to do the same against us this week? I don't know, but as long as we take advantage of those turnover worthy plays, I think we absolutely have a shot. Obviously, the Bills are a great team. They're trying to win the division. They're at home. Great offense. Josh Allen is obviously a special player, so it's not going to be easy. And personally, like you said, it would be great to win. I don't know if it's necessarily a must win. Looking ahead in the schedule, we have games like the Lions and the Bears, and we also have 2 other games after that. So personally, if I had to make a win-loss prediction, I sadly would say we lose to the Bills. I don't see us sweeping the Bills. So that's my opinion. I think we take a loss 27-20. I don't know what your score prediction is, but I think we play a close game and eventually comes to the fourth quarter and we just don't have what it takes to get it done, and Josh Allen gets it done at home. Obviously, I'm going to be rooting for a Jets win. I hope I'm wrong. I predicted that we would lose to the Bills last time we played them. So I really want to be wrong here, but I just don't know if we go into Orchard Park and get the win.
Yeah, before I get into that, I do want to add on to what you said about Josh Allen's style of play. He certainly does play reckless. It's pretty obvious when you watch him play, but at the same time, that recklessness is what turns into the big plays. So when he makes the mistake, you have to take advantage of it, like we did in the first game. That was the big reason we won. And 2, with Von Miller being out, like you said, we're going to be able to run the football. We were able to run the football in the first time with Von Miller. We need to be able to establish that early on again. Um, last game they were missing Trey White and Poyer and Milano. They're gonna have all 3 of those guys back, so that's a big time boost to their pass defense. But without Vaughn, that pass rush takes a big hit, and the run defense takes a big hit. So we got to take advantage of that. In terms of prediction, I'm gonna say a Bam Knight first career touchdown. He was knocking on the door last game, man. If we were just giving him the ball one time on the 1 yard line, he would have gotten it. But I say he gets it this time. Defensively, I'm gonna say Quentin Williams another sack. I think he matches up well against this Bills offensive line. I believe he had a sack last time we played them too, and that'll get him to 10 on the season, which will be the first time we've had a guy with 10 plus sacks in 15 years. Maybe it was John Abraham, I
Yeah,
think,
John Abraham.
and then similarly, Garrett Wilson, I think he's got 790 yards. We haven't had an 1,000-yard receiver since B. Marsh and Decker did it in 2015. So I mean, those would be two cool add-ons to the season. But in terms of a game prediction, I think I'm with you. I think the Bills pull this one out. I hope we kind of uh jinx it here for them. So I
Yeah,
think maybe
absolutely.
if we both predict losses, maybe we'll get a win. Two negatives is a positive. So I'll say Bills 27, Jets 21. That's my prediction.
Yeah, similar score prediction for the both of
Hopefully we
us.
get a reverse score though. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I'll take that.
Hopefully we get it wrong. I mean, I think we both predicted the Jets to lose against the Bills last time we played them. So
I believe so. And we both predicted them to beat the Vikings too, so maybe that was
yeah,
the issue. I kind of
yeah.
had a weird feeling about that one when I did it. So
I know, I
hopefully
know.
this is the same
I was
scenario.
just riding the Mike White high after the Bears game.
Just know if they win this game, I'm not predicting them to lose another game this
Yeah,
season.
I know.
We will go 12-5.
Absolutely. In terms of my bold prediction, I think Garrett Wilson hits the 900 yards, 5 touchdown mark. So he's at, you said
I
792,
think he's at
right?
790, yeah,
Yeah, so
with
I
four
think he has
touchdowns,
the
yeah.
100+ yard game, touchdown game that honestly we've been accustomed to him having the past couple of weeks. I think he's at that level now where we could expect high numbers, high statistics every week just because he's that type of player. But I don't know if you have any more closing thoughts before we wrap this up.
How about another bold prediction? Give me a CJ Uzama first touchdown as a Jet. I feel like he's another one knocking on the door. I think
He's due.
with everybody screaming and yelling about how LaFleur needs to get the tight ends involved in the red zone, maybe he gets a target or two down there. I mean, that 31-yard catch he had was electric. The way he was yelling after it, I love that guy. We need to get
I
him a touchdown. We
he
have to get him one.
he definitely does his job blocking. I feel like he deserves the glory of scoring a touchdown. And
I
like you
mean,
said, that
go ahead, go
31
ahead.
yard catch he had, that was an awesome grab. I think that goes a little
That
unnoticed. That
was
was a good catch. He used all of
like
his wingspan to get that one.
Mike White fired that one in like
I
over
know.
his head
I
too, and
know.
he snagged that.
It was
I mean,
fast and he brought it in.
I'll take a Gronklin touchdown too. I'll give me either
Yeah.
one. I mean, I don't care. Just someone
I'll,
scores a
I'll take any
touchdown.
I'll take any touchdown at this point. I mean, I just want to see a
Someone score a
score
touchdown.
6 in the red zone finally. But I do think we bounce back in the red zone though. Absolutely. I think Michael Floor he adapts well, and as a team, as the Jets as a whole, always seem to bounce back. So, really really hoping we're getting proved wrong on these predictions, but we'll see. We'll be rooting hard for the Jets no matter what. So that about wraps it up. And as always, go Jets.